Hi everyone, my name is J.M. Buchner.
Hi, my name's Ben Page.
So what I wanted to do is I want to take a few minutes to talk a little bit about the pre-production of the Passageway Story Trilogy trailer for Rising Tempest. And because I only know about a quarter of it, I brought this guy who did the other three quarters of the work. So we're going to talk about the pre-production in this video. In the next video, we're going to talk about the actual day of filming, as well as any post-work that we did or didn't do. So it began with the conceptualization first, aka me going, Ben, can we make a video? He said, sure, or something to that.
Something to that effect, yeah.
Of course, the next question out of his mouth was, how much money do you got? And I said, how to say zero or almost nothing. But then he squeezed me and like put me on my ankles and shook out more change, like lunch money. And we come up with a budget. And once we had a budget, I was like, okay, what are we going to shoot? We had the book. We knew kind of what the scene we wanted to do, but obviously, as many filmmakers find, you can't just do a one-to-one, bring it directly from the book to the screen. So we had to make some adaptations, and Ben took point on that to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you do?
So basically, I took the scene that you sent to me, and I started cutting in some lines into screenplay format. And that was basically it. It was just a matter of taking it from one format and changing it to the other. In that process, I think we cut some aspects.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a scene where he walks through water or looks at his reflection in the water. Maybe looks at some minnows.
Yeah,
Was that what it was?
Had some insects buzzing around,
right?
Large ferns, all
and
these.
We were going to use stock footage of minnows and stock footage of, the insects, but we decided that it didn't really move the story of the video along.
Plus, we had time,
and we had to worry about time to get everything shot, so we ended up cutting it.
And also, we made some small additions, like in the book, you don't have Draknar walking through the woods with a narrator talking into his ear.
Sure.
None of that really happened. And in addition, you didn't have, at the end of that scene in the book, you didn't have this slow, creepy zoom into the cave looking at our beautiful mugs of
preview of the Rhizar. We added that as well.
Yeah. But all in all, I think that that adaptation, it held true to what we wanted, the fun action sequences, the great dynamic between the brothers, but we added the elements of the depth of what the character's facing or what he will be facing throughout the book, as well as the creepy foreshadowing of the creatures to come.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Yeah. In addition to being the writer of the book, took on the role as director of the video.
I think so. Yeah.
So you kind of had the vision and the overarching idea for what the video was going to be, and then I was the producer, kind of helping to facilitate that vision and make it a reality.
Essentially, what he's trying to say is, I said I want to make a video. This is how I want to make it happen, and he did a pretty spot on job.
And you did as well. This was your first directing project, correct?
Thanks. So. To my knowledge, we won't talk about any previous homeschool videos that were done.
the videos of our youth?
Yes, those don't count. No. But I guess one of the big challenges we faced after we were like, okay, this is the scene we want to do. This is the budget we have, or the lack of budget we have. Now we need to find people who are going to be in front of the camera for this whole task, to which Ben graciously took point on that. So how did you do it?
Yeah, so initially I talked to a friend of mine who's a casting agent, and she had a pretty limited selection of people that were available. After it turned out that she wasn't able to help us, I reached out to a few people individually, people that I knew, actors, and then I reached out to a few different places, I think about 4 different places that were martial arts academies where people had special skills working with swords and stuff like that. And 2 of them got back to me, and out of one of those 2, we found James, who was our lead. He played Draknar.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. I remember we had many, many rounds of you sending me pictures like, okay, what about this? What about this? I'm like, no. And then he showed me a picture of James. I'm like, huh. And he knows how to fight already. That works.
Yeah.
So,
which was huge. Like, having somebody who already had a background in fighting, sword fighting, was going to be huge for us because it was such a big part of the sequence.
Yeah, and there he is in his beautiful mug with his own props that he brought. That was an added bonus. Didn't know that was going to come about, but it really came in handy later on in the photo shoot. But he was our first one that joined our merry band. Into which, at that point, we were getting pretty close to our shooting date. And I was like, Ben, like, maybe I should just do one of the parts. To which Ben...
I said no. Not because of a lack of acting ability, but just because... Well, you had too much on your plate already.
It was the acting ability.
Like, you were trying to, like, direct and also choreograph. Mm-hmm. Like, you came up with all this choreography. So, to try and tackle that and play the lead role, I think would have been an overload.
You're so kind.
So I'm glad that we were able to get James.
Yes.
I think he brought a lot to the role.
Definitely.
Great addition to the team.
Yes. And to which then we're like, okay, we have half of the brothers now, but we need the other half.
We got to find our Seth.
Yeah. And that one, I was kind of a nail biter. We were getting pretty close.
Down to the wire. I don't remember how the process came about that we found Anderson. I've known Anderson and known about Anderson's work for a while. I've seen him in a lot of different projects over the years. I think someone recommended him, I want to say, and then I tracked him down and we met with him in Chick-fil-A and had a nice little conversation, and we went to the park and did some rehearsal and stuff, and we realized really quickly that he was going to work.
Yeah, I think that having the two of them were a great balance due to the fact that you had James, who has all this fighting experience and like caught on like super fast, and he was like, wait, maybe we should do this instead or that move. I'm like, oh yeah, that's so smart, let's do that.
Not as much acting experience.
Yeah, not as much acting experience. But then we have Anderson on the other side, who's like, he caught on much quicker than I anticipated with the whole fight sequences, which was kind of a concern for me at first. But he blew it out of the water. Yeah. But he had all that acting experience. He had a lot more acting experience.
So the two of them complemented each other really well in that respect. And they bounced off of each other and pushed each other, I think Anderson pushed James to really hone his acting chops.
Yeah.
And James really pushed Anderson to step up his sword fighting game.
And it all came together.
And it came together well. Good team. Good cast.
Yeah. And there he is, Anderson, in his smolder. I guess he's an actor. He's good at that.
He's good at that smolder.
Yeah. So now we had our cast.
Right.
We'll get into the choreography and what that entailed in a bit, but the next part is like, okay, we have the people in front of the camera. They're going to be doing their thing. But then we need people like, behind the camera making that all happen. To which, again, I was like, well, have at it, Ben. I have no idea what you're going to do, but do your thing.
So our visual look, the guy who was in charge of making all that happen was our director of photography, Stu Maxey came in, and he is in charge of... The director of photography on a film set is in charge of the lighting and the camera. So he made all the decisions as far as here is where we're going to place the camera. This is how we want to arrange lighting and all that sort of good stuff. And he also operated drone for us too.
He did, yeah.
Drone footage as well. Yeah,
we had some pretty good drone footage. I was very impressed with the opening kind of cruise we had over the tree line, as well as that pretty good shot of our fine gentlemen in battle. I thought that was pretty cool.
There's like a booming shot as they walk away too.
Oh,
it's a drone shot moving up.
That was good.
Yeah. So Stu brought a lot to the table, a lot of experience in a lot of different fields.
Yeah.
So in addition to Stu, we had the one, the only, the legend, the man, the myth, C.T. Bell, operating boom and recording sound for us. Captured some great on-set audio. And just in general helped us out a lot, carrying stuff and making sure that things were running smoothly on set and helping us scare off a bear.
Oh,
That's a little bit of a foreshadowing. We'll talk about that more later.
Just say this though: if you ever need a bear scared away, CT is your person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did not have a production designer, so to speak, which would be the person like the head of the art department. But the person who basically played that role was Beth Passburg.
Mm.
Beth came in and designed all of our costumes.
Oh,
Pretty
here's one lovely addition
One of
right
our
here.
beautiful.
This is Draknar's garb.
Some of her beautiful work, and she came in. We found her. I don't remember how actually. I think I contacted the university.
Yeah, I think you found
drama
her, but,
department.
yeah.
Yeah, and she was at the top of everybody's list.
And for good reason.
For good reason. So we brought her in and we told her our budget and we told her what we wanted. And she was like, well, I'll make it work. And she did. And it turned out great.
I think
So
that
highly recommend Beth.
something that I think that does her great credit for what she did was the fact that we had, I think, 2 Skype sessions. One saying, please, will you help us? And the second one was, okay, so here's some Google pictures of medieval costumes. Here's kind of what I'm thinking. By the way, you're actually not going to be able to measure the people in person before you make the costumes. So that's all cool, right?
Yeah.
To which she was like, okay, we'll make it work. So we'll talk about how that all came together in the next video, but
Yeah.
spot on.
Phenomenal crew that we managed to pull together.
Yes.
We also had Emily Page as production assistant,
Mm-hmm.
kind of greasing the wheels, bringing us lunch,
Yes.
making sure we had enough crafty and
Indeed.
whatnot.
No.
It was a pretty small team,
Yeah.
but small but mighty.
Small number, mighty in power.
It was good group.
I guess, though, something that we need to talk about is we had the people in front of the camera, people behind it, making everything happen. We had the concept,
Mm-hmm.
but where to shoot? So that one, I think that I was the one who initially said, I think this place, Humpback Rocks, might be good. I've been there before. It had some good cliff face-ish areas. It had some good forest terrain. And it was a good central location for both our Chesapeake, me, and our Lynchburg crew to kind of meet in the middle-ish of sorts. And
it gave, I think, the right look for the passageway
yeah,
book. Like I think it captured the spirit of it as well as we could do.
as well as we could. It was quite a phenomenal find, being so close to us. We didn't have to drive to other states or anything, or fly to other countries to get our perfect shot. And even that the scene where Draknar is sitting on the cliff, kind of looking over the forest, it really is kind of what I had in mind, even in the book. Something that's like not too high, not like a Deathly Heights cliff, but just a nice little rock face in the woods where someone can think.
Yeah.
So it worked out wonderfully.
Perfect spot. So Josh, in addition to being the director on this project, you took on the tremendous task of choreographing the fight sequence, which is a big chunk of the video.
I guess it is the big chunk of the video, yeah. And to be completely honest, it was probably the one I was the most excited about.
Now, did you have any experience coordinating fights?
I'm going to say no, other than juvenile adolescent videos my brother and I did growing up. I never had any experience with communicating a fight sequence that I wanted to someone that didn't know what I was trying to do. Like my brother and I, we would be like, oh, we'll do this and this move that we always do. And be like, oh, duh, no problem. But now I had to take everything that I knew and the vision I had for this fight sequence and somehow communicate that with people who I have only met like once or twice.
Yeah.
That was a challenge, but it needed a system. So I'm going to show you all kind of what it looked like here in my spreadsheet here. But I essentially made a sequence that could be read, a script, if you will, of the choreography. This is probably not new. I'm sure people have finessed this and done it way better in the professional realm.
I think all it says in the script is basically they fight.
But in what I did in this spreadsheet here, I decided how we're going to fight. And I want someone to be able to read that and be like, okay, it says I'm going to do these maneuvers, so I execute these maneuvers in this way. But honestly, it just comes down to numbering the body areas, the body regions, and giving brief introductions or instructions on how to attack those areas. one easy one was the head shoulders region was region 1. So I would say Draknar attacks 1, Seth blocks 1 normally. So Ben, I'm going to have you help me out with this.
Oh boy.
Here's this. We're going to use our short ones so that we keep...
so that we don't hit the mic?
the mic or anything else in this room. So if I said, you'll be Seth.
Hi, my name's Seth.
Oh, I thought you were... Okay. Okay, he's now Seth.
I'm a method actor.
Oh, okay. Become another person. Got it. So, and I'm going to be Draknar. So if I said Draknar attacks Seth's 1, I would simply come down, attack Seth's 1, and block. That would be one section of the fight. And the next section would say Seth follows up block 1 with attack 3, 4, 5. I'm not going to expect you to do all that. But it actually worked out pretty well. Oh my gosh, and he did it too. But with those, it was kind of fun because what I had to do was I would sit in my little cabin in Chesapeake and I would sit on both sides. I'd like be like, okay, now I'm Seth, I'm going to block this. And then I'm going to like get to the other side and be like, okay, now I'm Draknar, I attack this.
So you didn't have anybody helping you with
I had no one helping me.
You're by yourself in a room.
Me, myself, and
figuring out what it was going to look like in your head.
Exactly, jumping back and forth, playing a game of chess with myself.
Mm-hmm. Did you have to do any drawings or like map it out? You just kind of like mentally knew what you wanted.
Kept it kind of in my head.
It's impressive.
Well, it worked. So
yeah, I think it looks really good.
So we had all the all the choreography scripted out. I knew where things were going to happen. When our scouting location, we had already determined the flow of the fight. Mm-hmm. But we also had to rehearse it with our actors. And James was the first one we had. We weren't really sure if there's going to be a number 2 person. So I'm like, okay, well, we'll just start here.
But we knew we needed to start teaching them right away so that they could get the hang of it. Because it was a pretty big sequence to learn. Especially to do it all the way through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we took James on site first because he had the location there. And we brought him there and we just started going through the sequences as you can see here. And with these, it took a little time because what was beneficial with doing James first was any tweaks or any suggestions he had, which were very valuable coming from him. He was like, well, what if we kind of did it like this? So I remember having to make a few edits from our time together. This actually right here was one of my favorite sequences we did in the whole trailer. I think it really turned out well. Mm-hmm. But it was also one of the more challenging ones because of some of the elements that we had to have. Sticks breaking, parries, trees, all these things.
Yeah. Unlevel terrain.
Yeah.
Was a factor too.
Indeed. Yeah.
It's the real world out there. It was not a soundstage created and crafted specifically for the purpose of filming there. So all kinds of elements can just come in and roots, rocks, people walking into the background.
Bears.
Foreshadowing again.
Foreshadowing again.
Man, you should write a novel.
Oh man. So then we were done with James, and then later on when Anderson jumped on board, we had to rehearse with him. So we had to teach him the other half of the fight. So we didn't go back all the way to Humpback Rocks. I think it was scheduling or something.
Something of that nature, yeah.
So we found some random park in Richmond. Here you can see us, Anderson and I, kind of practicing the maneuvers.
Yeah.
Him being so patient as I'd be like, no, you have to do your wrist like this, not like that. And he was like, okay.
It was pretty tricky for him because he was walking right into the middle of it, whereas you had been living with it for
it'd been on mine for weeks. So he was such a trooper, letting me like say, nope, over here, not this, not that. And he did it. We pulled it off in pretty quick succession. He showed his true versatility by picking up those movements so quickly.
What's impressive about both of them is that they managed to, in addition to like keeping all that choreography in their head, they also had to maintain a performance, and be in those characters. So that's quite a challenge. Not easy to do.
And we'll talk about the challenges of the actual filming day because keep in mind, at this point, these two people had never even met each other.
Right. Leading up to the filming, the day of filming, they had not met. No.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more, but that was a wild ride in and of itself. So that kind of brings us all the way up to the day of the shoot. We got our cast, we got our crew, we got our choreography, our scene, our site. Now we just had to shoot. So we'll talk about that next time. So stay tuned. Hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you have any thoughts, and we'll talk later.
Bye.
Bye.